GMAX Garbodor Raid Day is this weekend, but are you fully ready for this event? Because it is extremely underrated and we're going to show you why. Let's get time and date out of the way first, guys. It's going to be taking place this Saturday, which is going to be the 1st of November from 2 to 5 p.m. local time, so a 3-hour time frame, which brings about our new GMAX Pokemon GO debut. GMAX Garbodor. GMAX Garbodor is a poison-type Pokemon, which is of course the final form of Trubbish going into Garbodor, and of course GMAX Garbodor. But how good will it be in Pokemon Go? Well, let's have a look at its base stats. It has a max CP of 2651, an attack of 181, a defense of 164, and a stamina of 190. So overall, this Pokemon is not looking great off the bat. The fast attacks it has access to is going to be Infestation as well as Takedown. The charge moves that this Pokemon could use outside of GMAX battles is going to be Seed Bomb, Gun Shot, Body Slam, and Acid Spray, but the GMAX move on this Pokemon is going to be GMAX Malador, which is its poison-type GMAX move. Now that we know its base stats, how do we take down GMAX Garbodor? Well, to be honest, the best way to look at this is going to be to look at its weaknesses. It takes reduced damage from Bug, Fairy, Fighting, Grass, and Poison, so we're not going to be using those types, but it is only weak to 2 types, which is going to be Ground and Psychic. So a lot of our teams are going to be surrounding Ground and Psychic type Pokemon. When it comes to GMAX battles, remember that you can get up to 40 people in a lobby, which means you could have well over 80-90 Pokemon depending on how full these lobbies really are. The best way to try and approach this is get in a group of about 10 or 20 and try and divide yourself up into teams, and remember to use party play as well, because this feature does actually affect max battles even though we don't get the charge meter at the bottom left. More importantly though, what Pokemon should you have on your team? Depending on which GMAX Pokemon you're facing, if it's more defensive or more attacking, you either going to have 2 defenders and 1 attacker, or 1 defender and 2 attackers depending on what you're fighting against. In this particular case, I would suggest going in with 2 defenders and 1 attacker, and the reason why is that Garbodor's defensive stat is not very high, but because it's a very bulky Pokemon, we need to stay in the battle as long as possible. So these are the Pokemon that are going to be the best defenders, in other words, to start the battle with, and they also have a half a second fast move that can charge that Dynamax meter quickly to get into the Dynamax phase. Those Pokemon are going to be Crown Shield Zamazenta with Metal Claw, Corviknight with Sand Attack, Duraludon with Metal Claw, as well as Crown Sword Zacian with Metal Claw 2. You could even use something like GMAX Gengar with Sucker Punch as well. And remember, once the Dynamax phase goes active, you are able to switch your Pokemon into the attacking Pokemon so you can do as much damage, especially hitting that weakness of Poison with Ground and Psychic type attacks to really maximize the damage output in this phase. These are the best attackers you could use. VMAX Alakazam is probably going to be your best pick because its attack value is extremely high with Max Mindstorm. DMAX Latios with Zen Headbutt and Max Mindstorm coming to second. DMAX Metagross pop in there with Zen Headbutt and Max Mindstorm as well. You could use Excadrill with Mud Slap and Earthquake, and we could even recommend something like Hatterene with Psycho Cut and Max Mindstorm too. All of these Pokemon are going to be doing Psychic and Ground type damage, which is what you really need to take this Pokemon down. Remember to move your Pokemon on the screen left and right to hit that little Dynamax bubble so that it can charge the Dynamax meter quickly, and more importantly, and a lot of people don't know this, that you can actually dodge some of these big attacks coming from these GMAX or DMAX Pokemon. If you time this correctly, the move coming from the GMAX or DMAX Pokemon is going to do a lot less damage. In this case, it's not going to be that important because remember, a lot of the poison type attacks that are going to be coming from Garbodor are going to be resisted by a lot of our tanks specifically, so it shouldn't be that necessary, but a good tip to look out for. So overall, what are the best 3 Pokemon you could possibly use on your team? Definitely use Crown Shield Zamazenta. That is an absolute 100% pick for the starter Pokemon. And then as your attackers, I'm probably going to go in with 2 attackers and just see how that goes depending on the group that I play with. But I would strongly recommend going in with a DMAX Alakazam because we've just had a few Max Mondays for Abra, and I'm definitely going to use my Metagross in there as well because it will take resisted damage and it can do that Max Mindstorm move. Once you defeat GMAX Garbodor, you will get an encounter with Garbodor, which can be shiny. I'm not actually 100% sure what the shiny rate could be. It could be around 1 in 20, although on GMAX days this is kind of inconsistent, but the 100% IV coming from these GMAX raids is going to be 1339 CP, so look out for that. But let's look at the bonuses on GMAX Garbodor Day and how we can really maximize this now that we have our counter guide out of the way. The following bonuses will be active. The max particle collection limit will be increased to 1600. All the power spots will host GMAX battles and they are going to refresh every half an hour, which is great. We can get 8 times the max particles when we collect them from power spots. We can get 2 additional special trades on this day, and the remote raid limit is is going to be increased to 20 from Friday the 31st of October at 5 p.m. PDT time all the way until November 1st at 8 p.m. PDT time. It's going to be 2 times the max particles from exploring, so you're going to get 600 max particles for only walking a quarter of the distance, which is only going to be 500 meters. So 500 meters equals 600 particles. There will be a free timed research available going live on the 27th all the way until the 1st, and the main rewards there are going to be a GMAX Drillbur, which of course we can use as a GMAX Excadrill in these battles. We're also going to get candy for that Drillbur, as well as max particles, which is very important because we have a tip coming up to really maximize how many max particles you can use as a free-to-play player to really maximize how many max battles you do. There is an event ticket for a total cost of $5, and the main rewards there is that you're going to get 1 max mushroom, which is going to do more damage in raids. You're going to get an extra 25,000 XP per raid that you do. You're going to get 2 times the XP from max battles, which is going to be huge, as well as your max particle collection being increased to 5,600. But how do we really maximize these bonuses? We've got some incredible things to talk about here, and this is why this day is super underrated. Guys, let's start off on the XP side of things. Remember, every single time you complete a GMAX Garbodor raid, you're going to get 25,000 XP. If you use a lucky egg there, you're going to get 50,000 XP. If you buy the ticket on top of using a lucky egg, you're going to get 100,000 XP. And if you want to take this even further, guys, for 200 Pokecoins, you could double this to get up to 200,000 XP per Garbodor raid. That is with everything stacked, with the ticket, with a lucky egg, and with the Pokecoin usage. That is absolutely massive, especially if you're trying to push to level 80 now that it's live. And even on the Stardust side of things, remember guys, every single GMAX raid grants us 25,000 Stardust. If you use the 200 Pokecoins, you could get up to 50,000 Stardust, and with the Star Piece running, you could get up to 75,000 Stardust per raid. Guys, that is why these GMAX battles are incredibly important, incredibly underrated. The rewards are massive, and remember, at level 72 now, one of the requirements is to accumulate 1 million Stardust, and this day, if you're already on level 72, could be a huge opportunity to try and do that. Huge day for bonuses. Tip number 2 when it comes to these bonuses has to do with the max particle limit. Now guys, we have a great strategy, especially if you're a free-to-play player, to take your GMAX battles from 3 to 6 in one day, and here is how you do that. The day before, on the Friday, we want you guys to collect up to 14 or 1,500 max particles, as well as collecting your 300 max particles for walking 2 kilometers. That is going to take you to 1,700 particles. Coming from that timed research though is going to be 1,400 max particles. Do not claim it, only claim it on the Saturday, which means you're going to take that 1,700 from the day before, as well as the 1,400 to take you to 3,100 max particles, which is going to allow you to do 3 free GMAX Garbodor raids. And once you complete those raids, you're going to have about 700 left over. Once you have 700 particles left over, you could then collect another 1,600 max particles coming from these power spots, but I would suggest not doing it. You can do it another way. Now that you have 700 max particles left over, you could then collect another 1,600, then to do another 2 free GMAX Garbodor raids, which would take you to do about 6 GMAX Garbodor raids for free. That is an absolute massive tip, and again, you can just really maximize your rewards. If you guys want to maximize your damage coming from this, remember to use Eternatus's Dynamax Cannon. That is going to upgrade your max moves by about 1 level, especially if your max moves are at level 3 already. They will go to level 4 in terms of damage or defense output, which is incredible. And you could even use Crown Sword Zacian's Behemoth Blade, which is going to upgrade your damage by about 5% in these max battle raids as well. So if you want to do more damage or take less damage, consider using those adventure effects. If you want to get candy gains as well, this is going to be tip number 4. Remember to Mega Evolve a poison type Pokemon to really maximize the candy coming for Garbodor, because the main reason we might want to use Garbodor could be in the near future, because we do have GMAX Grimmsnarl arriving during the wild area, and because that is a part fairy and dark type Pokemon, it could be used as a really good tank depending on if we do get good defensive stats. So let's see what happens. The last thing we want you guys to remember is to take advantage of those 2 special trades. We said every single time we see this bonus, we're going to leave some results on screen right now. We've seen some amazing results. That is how a lot of pros get top Pokemon in the game coming from raids, and then they trade it to either go lucky so they can get Shundos as well as Hundos. Guys, extremely underrated. Guys, this is GMAX Garbodor in its entirety. We really appreciate you being here. Please smash the like and subscribe button. Your support is the only way we can get to the top, and we know we can do it with you guys. Love you guys. Go with us, and we'll catch you in the next one, baby.